What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Christian, aka I Hate You Dior, and um I'm back, and UFC's back, baby. We're gonna talk about UFC 314. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy Christian, aka I Hate You Dior, and I am back. Took a little break. I look a little different, if you guys can't tell. In a new place, new environment, but we're back, right? UFC has been very shit these last few months, very boring. Just haven't been compelled to talk about it, but they're back, right? UFC 314 happened last night. It was a banger, right? It was probably one of the best cards I've seen in a while, probably the best card of the year so far, and it's probably the best card I've seen since Max Holloway, Ilya Topuria. I think that says a lot. In the main event, we had Diego Lopes versus Alexander Volkanovski, and my man Volk got the belt back. The King's back. GOAT has reclaimed his belt, but on the other end, Diego Lopes did have to lose. Unfortunately, I did pick Diego Lopes going into this fight. Kind of break it down. They won all 5 rounds. I believe they scored it 49-48, I think. I know they definitely gave Diego Lopes, I think it was the 4th round, I think. If I had to compare it to anything, it was kind of like the Peter Yan Davison Figueiredo fight, where Figueiredo was losing every single round, but Figueiredo was still making it somewhat competitive. Diego Lopes did have a lot of really big moments though. Like, I would think it was in the 1st, 2nd round, he did crack Volk a couple of times. But oh my God, Volk was a man on a mission last night, and I don't think anybody could have beat him. He got cracked pretty badly by Diego Lopes, and I was nervous that was gonna be it right there. I was like, oh man, Volk's getting shinned again. My prediction for the fight originally was basically a toss-up, because that's how I really thought the fight would be. I saw it either Volk gets a decision or Diego Lopes gets a knockout, and lo and behold, Volk won by decision. But Volk out there, man, he was fast and he was sitting on his shots, because there were some times where he would hit Diego Lopes and you can just see how it made Diego Lopes uncomfortable, and he would move back and it would stop him from pushing. The majority of the fight was really Volkanovski going first and just starting off the combinations and kind of just leading the fight with jabs, leg kicks. I don't remember if he was shooting takedowns or not. Maybe. I know Lopes definitely tried getting some takedowns in there. First round was definitely a Volk round, but there were a lot of moments. I think middle of it, they both traded and connected. I'll probably put the photo up here on screen. But very good first round from both of them. Volk was fast. Volk was fighting his fight, right? 2nd round, Diego Lopes came out and he was doing what he does best, pressuring Volkanovski. Did crack him at one point, and it kind of made me think like, oh man, this fight is over. But Volk did a really good job at staying composed, and he's back. You know, Volk won the belt, and I still think Diego Lopes is a championship level fighter, even if he didn't win the belt last night. I would like to see him fight somebody like a Yair Rodriguez, especially after Yair won his fight last night, and we're gonna talk about that a little later on. But yeah, Volk's back. Volk won the belt. I'd like to see him defend it against Merab. Oh, actually no, he said he wouldn't fight Merab, or Merab said he wouldn't fight Volk. So like Mosvar. I think Mosvar is the right choice to go. They said they promised Yair a title fight. I don't know why, and like I said, we're gonna talk about Yair, but Volk versus Diego Lopes, probably my fight of the year so far. Entertaining fight, if not like the main one. I might be missing a couple, can't really remember too many, but it's up there for sure with fights this year so far. And great main event. Yeah, I have really nothing else to say other than that. Volk's back. Volk looked amazing. Broke the 36-35 curse, and 2-time featherweight champion. I think it's time. You know, people were giving him his flowers before, but I think the biggest thing with Volk is that since he got knocked out in his last 2, made people forget, man. It made me even forget, because like honestly, I went in thinking like Volk was old and washed, and he was gonna get starched by the young hungry contender, and there I was. Now I am a Diego Lopes glazer, so there's some bias there, but at one point I was a Volk glazer, right? But yeah, great main event. I think Diego Lopes will be back. On to the co-main.
Well done here then. So, What now?
Now, I believe I would like to sit here for a while.
Paddy fucking Pimblett, oh my goodness, put on a master class against Michael Chandler. And I picked Paddy Pimblett. I bet my fucking house on Paddy Pimblett. As you can see, I'm in a new place, so it fucking worked, right? But Paddy Pimblett TKO'd Michael Chandler round 3. He beat the shit out Michael Chandler, right? First round was a Michael Chandler round. He went out, dumped him, picked him up, hit him with the big Michael Chandler punch, right? Does what Michael Chandler does in every single fight, right? When you fight Michael Chandler, you know what to expect. He's gonna pick you up and dump you. He's gonna throw the big Michael Chandler punch. He's gonna just fucking, like, from range. He's short. He has to get on the inside. You know what you're expecting with a Michael Chandler fight. On top of him fighting a million other people in the UFC and losing because of the things that he's shown. You know, like, there's a million fights of the guy, and all his fights in the UFC, you see what he does, and he doesn't really change the game plan ever in his fights. So I don't know why people picked Michael Chandler off of the sole fact that he has the one Michael Chandler punch. He hit him with the one Michael Chandler punch, and Paddy just fucking ate it. I'm gonna probably put that photo somewhere on the screen too. But yeah, Paddy Pimblett has a wonderful chin. Did lose the first round. Still pretty competitive first round, regardless of what Michael Chandler was doing anyways. And then literally every single round after round 1, every second, every minute, every exchange, Paddy Pimblett fucking dominated Michael Chandler. I predicted this. I think Michael Chandler going into his fight, especially looking back at the Charles Oliveira fight, Michael Chandler was very patient in that fight, and I think he definitely knows, like, yeah, I shouldn't have been that patient. So he came out into this fight with a mission, right? Tried to finish it in the fight early on in the first, used a lot of energy, and like I said, you know, not like I said, because I didn't make a video about this. I didn't feel like I wanted to make a video, but what I was telling people was, you know, first round, Michael Chandler's gonna win. He's gonna do what he does, and then after he gasses out, because he's 38 years old, just saying, after he gasses out, it's just a matter of time before Paddy gets on top of him. Paddy's way bigger. Paddy Pimblett was way bigger than him on the ground, was able to control him. First round, Chandler did get a lot of control time, but like I said, tired himself out, and round 2, just Paddy took over. Long legs, he was using his limbs to kick him. Every time he got him in an uncomfortable spot, he threatened up a submission. Locked in a triangle at the end of the first, off of some shit Michael Chandler was trying to do. And that's the story of the fight. Michael Chandler would try something, Paddy would capitalize on it, and he would just dominate. Second round, he dropped him, got him on his back, cut him open, like right here, one of them. I'll probably put that up on screen too. But he beat the shit out fucking Michael Chandler. Third round, he just comes out full force, flying knee, connects with Chandler, and then just throws a bunch of punches until he just wins the fight. And it was a beautiful performance, right? I predicted it. Paddy Pimblett made me some money last night. Like I said, I bet the house on Paddy Pimblett. We got a new house. So bet on Paddy Pimblett whenever you can, guys. As for what's next, I'd like to see him fight a top contender. I think he's ready. I think people need to stop kind of raising the bar with Charles Oliveira. With Paddy Pimblett, I think the thing is with him, people don't really take him seriously, and they go based off his last performances, but he's clearly improving between each of his fights. His striking looked good last night. His defense is still a little suspect, but his striking looked good. His grappling is amazing. He's always been a great grappler. And yeah, I think people need to stop raising the goalposts with Paddy. I think he can probably win in a fight against Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. Who else is up there? Maybe not Max. Charles, maybe. Arman Tsarukyan, Dan Hooker. These are names that I think Paddy Pimblett, if not wins, he can make it a competitive fight. He's young. He has all the physical gifts for it. He's very big for lightweight. You guys see how fat he gets when he's not in training camp, and then when he does cut down, which is fucking crazy how he does that. He cuts down all that weight and he's fucking shredded, right? You guys like, if you guys watch the pre-fight content, like the press conferences and shit like that, and you saw Paddy Pimblett at the press conference, he looked fucking huge compared to Michael Chandler, right? He was ripped, he was big, his fucking delts and lats and shoulders are big, he's just beefy dude, right? Long arms, long legs, 5'11", against stubby Michael Chandler, who's old. One guy's on a downward trajectory, the other one's on the upward trajectory. It just made sense, and I think it's gonna be a similar situation with anybody else he fights in the higher parts of the weight class. Something like a Dan Hooker fight or Arman fight, I'd say is quite even because that age gap difference isn't really there with them. But in a fight against somebody like Dustin, I don't see why he can't beat Dustin. I don't see why he can't beat Justin. I don't see why he can't beat Charles. And you could even make a case for Arman, Dan Hooker, fuck it, Max Holloway. At this point, I'm high on Paddy Pimblett, right? I was jacking Paddy Pimblett since the Tony fight. I wanted Tony to win, but I knew Paddy was gonna win. I picked Paddy to beat Bobby Green. I picked Paddy to beat Michael Chandler. I'm confident with him, and the thing is with Paddy is that he prepares very well for his fights. And he's improving, right? He reminds me a lot of Dricus, and every time I tell my friends this, my friends think I'm crazy. But the thing is with Paddy and Dricus is that there's not a lot of skill. It's really more so good ground game and just physical gifts. And the way they put it together works for them in a way that is able to just win them fights. Look at Dricus du Plessis, not a single ounce of technique in his stand-up, and he's still able to just use his fucking strength and size to just win his fights, and how good he is on the ground as well as an edge compared to his striking and his finishing ability on the ground. Same thing with Paddy. He can finish you on the ground. He can clearly knock people out. We've seen this. We've seen him knock scrubs out before, and then last night he was putting the work on Michael Chandler with the striking, and he TKO'd him, right? Cut him open, had him leaking. He was putting Michael Chandler through fucking hell. He had him in the blender. Just dominant performance from Paddy, right? Got his 50K too, deserved it. He made me some money, so I'm glad he got himself a bonus. Shouts to Paddy Pimblett. What's next for Chandler? Conor McGregor, I guess. Who knows? Who cares? Patricio Pitbull versus Yair Rodriguez was a boring ass fight. Pitbull didn't really do shit, but try to kind of jab at range and leg kick. And then it got to the point where like Yair was like throwing shit, and then he was like, well, I don't really need to throw shit if this guy's not doing nothing back. And then he kind of like would put himself in bad spots, and I imagine in his head he's like, yeah, I gotta start throwing shit again, right? Pitbull was very slow. I predicted this as well. Same age as Chandler. People forget. If he probably would have came in when he was younger, would have been a different fight, but just couldn't get it together. He was very slow, couldn't get going, and just Yair used his abilities. He was longer, kicked him at range, stayed on the outside, which Patricio was trying to do for some reason. I don't know why. Didn't work in his favor, and he lost, I think it was like 49-48, 50-40. I'm saying 50-47, 49-48. It was a 3-round fight. Like 30-27, 30-28, some shit like that. There were some moments in the fight where he would kind of like, Yair would do something, and then, like I said, put himself in a bad spot, and I'd be like, damn, Yair doesn't look that bad, and then he'd end up in like a submission attempt or some shit, and I'm like, yeah, this is where Yair loses the fucking fight. So I didn't bet on either of them. Neither of those guys I bet on, because that would have been a parlay killer if he would have got submitted, which he almost did multiple times. Fight ended and he got caught in like a heel hook, and then Yair tried putting him in a heel hook of his own. It was a boring fight, right? Yair won. He said he wants to fight for the belt, which is absolutely fucking insane. Brother, the best we can do is Lerone Murphy in the Apex. All jokes aside though, I would like to see him fight Diego Lopes, especially considering that they do have a Mexico card in September, and they need somebody to fight. And then, you know, you saw the press conference, they have beef.
Pull on. Oh. Ulan. Oh, dímelo. Hey.
They did book this fight in the past, and everyone kind of questioned it because they were like, why are they making this fight? But I'd like to see the fight. The interaction they had at the press conference was hilarious, and it drummed up a lot of hype for the fight. And going back to that, right? One thing that got me tight is with these press, like I told you guys, UFC's been shit these last few months. The press conferences have been so bad too, right? Especially with these stupid questions they've been asking. But this was a really good press conference, not just because of what happened between Diego Lopes and Yair Rodriguez. There were some genuinely good questions, and then at the end, the argument that happened between Yair and Diego Lopes was pure entertainment. And then what happened? And then if you haven't seen the press conference or the clip, ask yourself, what probably happened after Diego Lopes and Yair got into an argument? Well, I'll tell you. John Anik tried changing the subject and going on to the next question, and then they ended the press conference, right? So the UFC kills their own hype. They do this shit all the time. That was probably the most entertaining part of the press conference. Truth be told, I didn't plan on watching the press conference until I went on Twitter and I saw Aaron Bronstetter, the guy who's always on Twitter, posting the UFC Dana White conferences, right? He posted something on Twitter and was like, Diego Lopes and Yair had to get separated at the press conference because they went at it, right? And yeah, that's my rant about that. After that was Bryce Mitchell versus John Silva, and that was another great fight. Bryce Mitchell looked shit scared, couldn't get a single takedown off on Gene Silva, and Gene Silva was clearly trying to do the glove touch, dap up, fucking smile, laugh shit he does in all his fights, and Bryce Mitchell just wasn't going for it. But he beat the fuck out Bryce Mitchell. Couldn't get a single takedown. I think he went like, I don't know the exact statistic, but he probably went like 0 for 8 on takedowns. I think he got a single takedown off in the whole fight. The fighting nerds prepared very well for the fights going into it, which is why when people were saying like, oh, Bryce Mitchell's probably going to submit him, he's never fought a grappler. I don't think that's an issue with these guys, just because we saw it in the Prates and who else was it? Prates and Neil Magny fight, where Neil Magny was trying to smudge him, and Prates, who never really fought a grappler before that, worked his way back up. And I'd imagine in training camp, because they train very well for their fights, like I said, they were probably like, yeah, Neil Magny's a fucking grappler, he's gonna try to do that, so train to do get-ups. And I imagine when they were doing the training camp with Gene Silva, they were like, Gene Silva, Bryce Mitchell's gonna shoot takedowns on you. You got taken down a bunch of times by Charles Jourdain's fucking small ass. So don't let Bryce Mitchell take you down. Work on stand-ups. And what did he do? Got his stand-ups. Couldn't get a single takedown off on him. My prediction into the fight was that he was gonna hurt him off the break. What I didn't predict was that he was going to train submissions and submit Bryce Mitchell, and not only put him in a submission, but also put up 2 other submission attempts. Beautiful performance from Gene Silva. And yeah, the fighting nerds, I think, are fucking, they're legit. They are what they say they are, and I think I'm confident that Prates is gonna beat Magny. I think Prates is gonna beat Machado Gary. Bet the house every time, guys. Just bet on the fighting nerds. Fighting nerds have made me money every time I've watched them fight, and I believe it's gonna keep being like that. So Paddy got me the house. John Silva paid for my haircut, basically. So yeah, shouts to John Silva, shouts to Paddy Pimblett. They both made their 50 G's. And yeah, Bryce Mitchell's probably gonna have to fight another unranked guy after this. They might take him out the rankings, but Edson Barboza is right there, and there's like somebody's fucking at the number 15 spot. Edson Barboza, Dan Ige. Well, Dan Ige just won, so probably not him. But Edson Barboza, knock him out at the top 15, move Mitchell to 15, get him an unranked fight, get him a bounce back win like they did with Chrome Gracie, and then just kind of go from there. Gene Silva, I would love for him to fight like I keep saying Lerone Murphy because he's like the only featherweight I could think of right now, but I'd love to see him fight. What's a good fight for him? I was gonna say Josh Emmett, but Josh Emmett's old as fuck. That would be a horrible fight, especially after how he fought Lerone. That was a bad fight. They should not fight. I think Gene Silva should fight. gun to my head, I think he should fight Arnold Allen, right? And then after that, yo, I was cooking on this card. I should have made a predictions video. Because everything I picked, other than Diego Lopez, came into fruition, right? And y'all wondering where I'm going with this, right? Because the next fight after the Bryce Mitchell fight was my boy, my guy, Dominic Reyes. Got himself another dub, knocked him out. Like, oh my goodness. I bet the house on Dominic Reyes also. Oh my God. Let me tell you guys something. This is another side rant, but I made a parlay and it was like Diego Lopez, Paddy Pimblett, Dominic Reyes. And then I think I did one of Gene Silva, fucking Dominic Reyes, and Diego Lopez. And both of them, Diego fucking Lopez sold me, bro. But it is what it is, right? You live and you learn. I still made my money. I'm not even mad, right? But oh my goodness, people counted out Dominic Reyes so bad. And y'all know I love my boy Dominic Reyes. I have a whole video where I talk about Dominic Reyes. Y'all know Dominic Reyes is my guy. I get happy when I see him win. I was happy when I saw him knock out Jacoby. I was so happy when I saw him knock out Anthony Smith. Last night, I got up and I cheered and I jumped for joy when he knocked him out. That was amazing. I almost cried when he knocked out Nikita Krylov last night, because that was a beautiful performance. And then he got on the mic afterwards and he gave a beautiful speech. Oh my God, Dominic Reyes is back, guys. Dominic Reyes is fucking back. Give him Jan Blachowicz. Give him. Oh my God, who does he fight at this point? Jan Blachowicz rematch. He could fight. Oh my goodness, I'm about to Google this shit, bro. Who can he fight? I can't remember nobody in the rankings right now for some reason, bro. My mind is just like blanking out on me when it's coming to this. Oh my God, he could fight Rakic, and he'll beat Rakic. Oh my goodness. Yeah, to talk about the fight itself and not how much I appreciate my boy Dominic Reyes, because yes, I did bet on Dominic Reyes, and yes, Dominic Reyes did win me some money. Dominic Reyes came in and he looked kind of fat, and even in like the photos they took before it, I was nervous because Krylov looked very, very athletic, fit, and Dominic Reyes looked fat. But it's light heavyweight, and Dominic Reyes is pretty tall, so I didn't think too much of it. But it was something that kind of gave me a cause for concern before the fight. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, Krylov hasn't fought in like 2 years. And I watched the interview of his, and he was talking about how like he had a near-death sickness, illness, some shit, and that's why he was gone for 2 years. And the doctors were like, yeah, you will never fight again. You'll be sick forever, something along those lines. And I saw that, and then I just remember, I was just thinking about it more and more, and I'm like, bro, there's no way he beats Dominic Reyes. Not because I'm a Dominic Reyes glazier, but the more I thought about it, I was like, this guy hasn't fought in how long against Dominic Reyes, who's coming off of 2 wins, has his back against the wall and is looking for more wins. Dominic Reyes, oh my God, everyone should have bet the house on this man. Why were people like, what would make people think he wouldn't win that fight? And then when you watch the actual fight itself, Krylov, he's going out there leaving his chin up every time he throws a punch, and it's like, okay, is he gonna adjust? He doesn't adjust to that. And Dominic Reyes is making all the right moves. He's fast, he's powerful. And I'm looking at him before the fight, I'm like, damn, he's fat as fuck. And then he gets in the ring and he's bouncing around, feinting kicks, kicking at range, jabbing at range. The second I started seeing him like in the fight, I was like, yeah, all my worry, everything I was worried about left me. And I was like, yeah, Dominic Reyes is gonna win this fight. And lo and behold, first round, I think, fucking Krylov went out there, chin straight out. Done. Watching it in real time, you can't even really see the knockout because of how quick it was. Just and then ground and pound, ref stopped the fight. And I what more can I just say about that, man? Like, oh my goodness, last night was such a feel-good night for like UFC fans, bro. Volk got the belt back, Dominic Reyes won, Gene Silva won, oh my God, Paddy won. Like, I've been thinking for a while now that the UFC's cooked, they're on the downward trajectory, and then there's things like this that happens, and I get hopeful for my sport again, the sport that I love, the sport that we love, the sport that I talk about on this channel. Then I remember the reality, and I start to lose that hope, right? But that being said, great fight, great feel-good moment, and I think the last fight after that I'm probably gonna talk about was Dan Ige, Sean Woodson. Another fight I predicted very well. I picked Dan Ige to win. Also won me some money. Oh my god, I was so locked last night, bro. Now that I'm like thinking about all these people I picked to win, Dan Ige was a fat underdog, but I did pick the fight to go to distance, which looking back is pretty stupid because Sean Woodson, that's the kind of fight that Sean Woodson goes into, and he uses his length to kind of win him to buy time, right? And that's what was happening. The first two rounds, first round specifically, we'll talk about the first round. First round, Sean Woodson used his length and kind of just kept Dan Ige on the outside because, yes, there was an obvious height mismatch here. The guy who's 5'9", 5'8", 5'6", whatever, fighting the 6-foot dude. Dan Ige's fought people taller than him his whole life. The guy's a fucking midget, right? With small, stubby arms. So this was something that like I didn't really think about. But that being said, the first round, I was a little worried for Dan Ige because it looked like he couldn't really figure out his timing, and that's the issue with Sean Woodson in a lot of his fights. People kind of, he's so awkward and long and has a weird style where people kind of spend a lot of time trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to fight this guy instead of just fighting him, right? First round was a bit of that. Dan Ige was very clearly struggling. I think the strike differential was like 20 to 6 for Sean Woodson's favor. And then second round, Dan Ige becomes a little more aggressive. He starts going first instead of Sean Woodson, and he starts cracking Sean Woodson a bit. Takedowns weren't really working. Sean Woodson would just reverse the position and get back up pretty fast, I will say too. But third round, you can definitely tell that he downloaded the data, made the reads, and downloaded the fucking data. Who am I, bro? Fucking Corey Sandhagen. You can definitely tell between the first and second round that he was trying to figure out his reads and make a game plan, and it came down to just he had to just go at him, right? And that's what he did. Third round, just went after him and knocked him out. Cracked him in the beginning, dropped him. Some people said it was an early stoppage. I don't care. He won me my parlay. So shout out to Dan Ige. I picked him to win, and I was right. Yeah, guys, UFC is fucking back. Dana, I'm sorry, Unc. I said Unc was washed. Unc's been cooking. Like, I can't lie. These next few events, I think after this, they have the Ian Gary Prates card. And I think after that, they have... What are we in April? God, I forgot the slate they have. I know eventually it's going to be Bilal and JDM. That's the next pay-per-view. The next fight night, I believe, is the Kansas City one, and that's the... Oh, Figueiredo, Corey Sandhagen. That's the other one they have. It's Figueiredo, Corey Sandhagen, Ian Gary versus Carlos Prates. Then UFC 315, Bilal and JDM. And then after that, we don't gotta talk about after that, right? But Unc right now, he's cooking. And I've been seeing on Twitter, there's some other fights that have been in the works too. I keep seeing people talk about Dustin versus Max in July. I keep seeing stuff about Ilya and his lightweight fights. So I'd imagine we're going to be seeing some good stuff coming out soon. They did sign Aaron Pico from Bellator. I was seeing something that he's going to fight Mosvar, which I think is a really weird matchup. And I don't think that's a good idea. But we'll see once they start announcing stuff. But yeah, UFC 314, great card, great pay-per-view. All my picks for the most part were right other than Diego Lopez, but I can't be that mad because on the other side, Volk won the belt. Volk's back, guys. Volk is back. He's going to beat Mosvar. He's probably going to beat fucking Aljamain, whoever else, and then retire. And retire as the greatest featherweight. I live by a fire station now. But I think he's going to beat Mosvar. I think he's going to beat Aljamain, whoever else they put at him, unless it's Ilya Topuria, of course. I think he's going to win. And I think he's going to retire as the featherweight GOAT. I think a fight like this for Volk, the biggest thing with his legacy was like, how is his long-term legacy gonna look like if he loses this fight after losing the last 2 fights he's also had, especially if he would have gotten knocked out. I think it would have made people question where he is in the GOAT list. But I think a win like this, him being the only 2-time featherweight champ, and especially him being the only champion in the lighter weight classes above 30, at 35 or older, I think something like this really solidifies him as like top 5 all time. If not that, he's definitely the featherweight GOAT. I don't think there's ever been any question about that. There was a little bit after the Ilya fights, but I think now after this and him getting the belt back, I don't think there's a question to it. He looked great last night. He turned back the clock somehow, and that's the thing with Volk, is just you can't count him out. He said it himself in that fight. You know, adversity is a blessing, right? You got to get past adversity, got to work past it, and Volk has just always done that, right? And it's great. You know, Volk has that career, and I think when he does retire, people are gonna look back at his career and be like, damn, you know, Volk was that guy. Volk was active as fuck, fought, you know, the best of the best, you know, went out on his shield, and he dared to be great. And he is, I think, in my personal opinion, top 3 ever, right? My personal opinion. But I think, you know, objectively or subjectively, whatever the word is, I think he's top 5 all time, right? I think that's very, very I don't think that's a crazy take, and I think he's the featherweight GOAT, and he's gonna remain the featherweight GOAT for forever. I don't think anyone's gonna really take that from him.
Hey, adversity is a privilege. You hear people talk about that all the time. It truly is. This moment is incredible.
If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like. And if you like videos like these, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be trying to be more active with the uploads. I know I took a little break, but like I said, I haven't felt inclined to talk about UFC. And there's just been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that's kind of been making it harder for me to make videos. But like I said, I'm in a new place. I'm in a new environment. I have a new setup. And yeah, I think we're going to be more active on this channel for sure. I have other things I want to talk about, other ideas for videos I have. So you're definitely going to be seeing that in the upcoming days. So make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss out a video from me. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Peace.